The Forgotten Colony. The transponder signal pulsed weakly in the darkness of space, a fading heartbeat growing more erratic with each passing hour. On the operations deck of Proxima IV's central command hub, Governor Ileana Reyes watched the emergency beacon's status with hollow eyes. 3 weeks of broadcasting distress calls, and still nothing but silence from Earth Command. Status update on evacuation sectors 3 through 7, she demanded, her voice betraying none of the fear that threatened to overwhelm her. Lieutenant Marcus Tanner swiped through holographic screens, his young face aged by exhaustion and the blue glow of emergency lighting. Shelters at 143% capacity. Medical supplies critically low. We've lost contact with outposts in the Eastern Hemisphere entirely. And our orbital defenses. Tanner's pause told her everything before he even spoke. The last satellite grid went dark 20 minutes ago. Our final destroyer, the Sentinel, was overwhelmed approximately 3 hours ago. He swallowed hard. Governor, we have nothing left in orbit. Reyes closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself a moment of weakness hidden from her staff. Proxima IV had been humanity's most ambitious colonial venture, a thriving outpost of nearly 50,000 settlers, scientists, and support personnel, the perfect success story of Earth's expansion program, at least until the Karvash Armada appeared without warning at the edge of their system 3 weeks ago. No formal communication, no demands, just immediate, methodical destruction. "They're coming down," said Commander Paulo Suarez, the colony's head of security, as he entered the command center. His uniform was stained with blood not his own, and scorch marks traced patterns across his armor. "We've confirmed multiple landing craft breaking atmosphere. Conservative estimate puts ground forces at 5,000 troops within the hour." Around the command table, faces drained of color. They all knew what Karvash ground forces meant. The few intel briefings they'd received from Earth described a species that considered humans little more than vermin, bipedal insects to be cleared from valuable real estate. "What about the tunnels?" Reyes asked. "Sealed and shielded as best we could," Suarez replied. "If the civilian evacuation protocol worked, we should have at least 30,000 people in the deep shelter network." The unspoken remainder hung in the air, nearly 20,000 colonists unaccounted for, likely already dead in the initial bombardment or trapped in outlying settlements. Tanner looked up from his console, his voice nearly breaking. "Governor, I'm still getting no response from Earth Command. The quantum relay is functional, but they're not answering." "Keep sending," Reyes ordered, though hope had long since fled her voice. 3 weeks was more than enough time for Earth to acknowledge them, to send help, if help were coming at all. The colony had been established under the promise of protection, the assurance that Earth's mighty fleet would respond to any threat. Yet here they stood, abandoned at the edge of charted space as an alien force systematically dismantled everything they had built. A dull boom shook the command center, dust drifting from ceiling panels. "They've breached the atmosphere," Suarez announced. "Impact zones detected in sectors 1, 4, and 8. They're surrounding the capital." Reyes straightened her uniform, a simple, pointless gesture of dignity in the face of what was coming. "Evacuate all command staff to emergency stations. Initiate Protocol Omega." The room fell silent. Protocol Omega, Earth's bureaucratic designation for last resort. The final message to be sent before a colony accepted its fate. "Governor," Tanner began hesitantly, "Protocol Omega includes detonation of the colony's fusion core." "That would." "I'm aware, Lieutenant," Reyes cut him off. "We won't give them our technology. And if we're going to die, we'll take as many of those bastards with us as we can." The command crew moved with grim efficiency, gathering essential data cores and weapons. Suarez deployed the remaining security teams to defensible positions, though everyone understood it was merely buying time. Reyes approached the quantum relay terminal herself, entering her command authorization. The message was pre-programmed, terse, and final. Piror tutcoxiolomitiainitiated. Pirox. Ine, IV Fallon. FINAL transmission. As the confirmation flashed on screen, she allowed her hand to linger on the console. Somewhere, 4.2 light-years away, someone at Earth Command would receive this message. Perhaps they'd observe a moment of silence for the doomed colony. Perhaps they'd mark Proxima IV with a small black designation in their star charts. Another failed expansion attempt. Or perhaps they'd finally send help, too late to matter. Another explosion rocked the building, closer this time. Emergency sirens wailed as backup systems failed one by one. "Governor," Suarez called from the doorway, rifle in hand. "We need to move. Now." Reyes nodded, taking one last look at the command center, the heart of what should have been humanity's greatest achievement beyond the solar system. A model colony, they'd called it. The beginning of a new era of expansion. Now it would be remembered, if remembered at all, as a cautionary tale. "Central Command, this is Outpost Delta." A panicked voice burst through the emergency channel. "They're inside the perimeter. They're slaughtering everyone. They don't even take prisoners. They just..." The transmission dissolved into screams before cutting out entirely. "Let's go," Rice said, drawing the sidearm from her belt. "Get to the tunnels. Protect our people as long as we can." They moved through corridors illuminated only by emergency lighting, the colony's once pristine hallways now scared by hasty barricades and marked with evacuation instructions. Through observation windows, Rice caught glimpses of the city below, smoke rising from dozens of locations, the methodical destruction of human presence on Proxima IV. In the distance, dark shapes descended from the clouds, more Carvosh landing craft, their hulls reflecting the orange glow of fires burning across the colony. "They're converging on the central districts," Suarez observed grimly. "Hunting patterns. They know where our population centers are." The evacuation route led them through the agricultural sector, once the pride of Proxima IV with its carefully engineered crops that had finally achieved sustainability just 3 years earlier. Now the vast greenhouses lay shattered, the planet's toxic atmosphere already withering the exposed plants. "Contacts ahead," shouted one of the security officers at point position. "Multiple hostiles, moving fast." The team took defensive positions behind overturned equipment as Suarez peered through his tactical scope. "First visual confirmation," he reported, his voice clinically detached despite the circumstances. "Carvosh combat units, standard formation." Reyes had seen images and briefings, but nothing prepared her for the reality of the aliens now hunting them through their own colony. The Carvosh moved with unsettling fluidity, their armored exoskeletons bristling with what appeared to be both technological weapons and natural biological weaponry. Each stood nearly 8 feet tall, with multiple limbs moving in perfect coordination. Their elongated heads swiveled independently of torsos, sensory arrays clearly scanning for human life signs. "Hold position," Suarez whispered into his comm. "Wait for my signal." The creatures communicated with clicks and electromagnetic pulses, the air itself seeming to vibrate with their presence. They moved through the ruins of the agricultural sector with purpose, not random destruction. They were hunting. "Governor," Tanner whispered urgently beside her. "The fusion core detonation sequence." 15 minutes, she confirmed. Just enough time to reach the deepest tunnels. The young lieutenant nodded, clutching his data core. These final records would be all that remained of their colony, if anyone survived to deliver them. Without warning, one of the Carvosh jerked its head toward their position. Sensory appendages flaring, it emitted a shrill sound that made Rice's teeth ache, and immediately the entire hunting party turned toward their hiding place. "Open fire," Suarez commanded. The corridor erupted in combat. Human weapons firing, engineered for dealing with the hostile wildlife of Proxima IV, not interstellar war, seemed to barely penetrate the Carvosh armor. The aliens returned fire with weapons that discharged not bullets but streams of caustic fluid that melted through metal and flesh alike. 2 security officers went down immediately, their screams mercifully brief as the alien biochemical ate through their protective gear. Suarez coordinated the remaining defenders, targeting joint sections in the alien armor where the exoskeleton connected. "Fall back by sections," he ordered, covering fire patterns. They retreated through the corridors, fighting a losing battle against superior numbers and technology. Rice found herself firing her sidearm with mechanical precision, years of mandatory colonial defense training taking over. Each shot found its mark, but the Carvash barely slowed. "The tunnel entrance is just ahead," Tanner called, clutching his wounded arm where alien fire had grazed him. They reached the massive reinforced doors leading to the underground shelter network, humanity's last stand on Proxima IV. Nearly 30,000 colonists huddled in tunnels originally excavated for mining, now repurposed as their final refuge. "Seal it behind us," Rise ordered as they passed through the enormous airlock. "Initiate all secondary barricades." The heavy doors ground shut, emergency systems engaging multiple layers of protection. Physical barriers, energy shields, and finally, deliberate cave-ins designed to bury the entrances completely. It wouldn't hold them forever. Nothing would. In the control room adjacent to the main tunnel network, Rise watched the countdown for the fusion core detonation. 10 minutes remaining. "Status of the civilian population?" she asked. Tanner checked the internal sensors, all accounted for in the deep shelters. "But Governor," he hesitated, "the blast radius from the core, even at this depth." "I know," she said softly, "but it's our last weapon." The shelter's communications officer approached, his expression bewildered. "Governor, we're receiving a transmission. It's not from the surface." "The Carvash?" "No, ma'am. It's coming through on an encrypted Earth military channel." The room fell silent as Reyes rushed to the communications terminal. "Put it through." Static crackled, then cleared to reveal a woman's voice. Calm, authoritative, and unmistakably human. "Proxima IV, this is Commander Elena Chen of the Earth vessel Hyperion. Authentication code Sierra 93 Victor Echo. Do you copy?" Reyes felt her legs weaken beneath her, steadying herself against the console. "This is Governor Reyes. We copy." "Commander Chen, where are you?" "Entering the Proxima system at high velocity. We've received your distress calls. Hold position and cancel any self-destruction protocols immediately. I repeat, cancel all self-destruction protocols." With trembling fingers, Reyes entered her override code, stopping the fusion core countdown with just 7 minutes to spare. "Commander," she said, voice breaking despite her best efforts, "the Carvash are already planetside. They've overrun the colony. We have limited defenses remaining, and we expected no response from Earth." There was a brief pause before Chen's voice returned, steel in every syllable. "You were not abandoned, Governor. Politics delayed the official response, so we came anyway. Prepare your people. Earth remembers its own." As the transmission ended, Rice turned to her stunned staff. Outside the bunker, the Carvash were already beginning to breach their outer defenses, but for the first time in weeks, something dangerous flickered in the governor's eyes. "Hope. They came," she whispered. "Earth came for us." The silent promise. 3 weeks earlier, Commander Elena Chen stood before the Emergency Response Council on Earth, her uniform immaculate, despite having traveled directly from patrol duty at the edge of the Sol system. The council chamber, with its semicircular arrangement of seats rising like an amphitheater, was designed to intimidate those who stood at its center. Elena refused to be intimidated. "The Proxima colony's distress signal is authentic," she stated, projecting sensor data onto the main display. "The Carvash fleet consists of at least 18 capital ships and numerous support vessels. This isn't a raid, it's an invasion force." Admiral Harrison, the gray-haired head of fleet operations, leaned forward. "Commander Chen, we've reviewed your report. The situation is regrettable, but you know our position regarding the Carvash Dominion." Regrettable. Alina's voice remained level only through years of military discipline. Sir, we have 50,000 colonists about to be slaughtered. The Proxima IV Colonial Charter explicitly guarantees naval protection. Ambassador Lee, the diplomatic corps representative, cleared his throat. The non-intervention treaty with the Karvash Collective was signed 3 years after Proxima IV was established. The legal situation is complex. There's nothing complex about it, Alina countered. Those are Earth citizens under attack. The chamber fell uncomfortably silent. Alina recognized the expression on the council members' faces, the careful neutrality of those who had already made their decision and were merely going through the motions of deliberation. What you're suggesting would trigger an all-out war, said General Winters, his fingers steepled before him. The Karvash fleet currently harvesting Proxima IV is only a fraction of their military capability. If we directly engage them over a single colony, we risk multiple core systems. Alina stared at the council, comprehension dawning like a cold sunrise. You're going to do nothing. Admiral Harrison at least had the decency to meet her gaze. A rescue fleet would take 3 weeks at maximum burn to reach Proxima IV. Intelligence indicates the colony will be completely overrun within days. We cannot justify committing a third of our defensive fleet to a rescue mission with 0 chance of success. So we abandon them. We make strategic decisions for the survival of humanity as a whole, corrected Ambassador Lee. This is why outer colonies are clearly designated as Level 3 protection status. The colonists understood the risks. Alina's hands tightened into fists behind her back. Permission to speak freely, sir. Admiral Harrison hesitated, then nodded. This isn't strategy. It's cowardice wrapped in bureaucracy. Alina's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. We promised those people protection. If we abandon them now, we send a message to every human settlement beyond Sol that they're expendable. And we tell every hostile species in the galaxy that humans are easy prey. Just stay far enough from Earth, and we'll let you slaughter us without consequence. General Winters rose from his seat, face flushed with anger. You've overstepped, Commander. This council has made its decision based on the survival of billions, not thousands. The hearing is concluded, Admiral Harrison announced, his expression unreadable. Commander Chen, you are ordered to resume your patrol duties effective immediately. This matter is classified Level 5 security protocol. No communication regarding Proxima IV is authorized. Alina stood rigid as the council members filed out, leaving her alone in the cavernous chamber. She had expected this outcome, had known the political reality even before requesting the emergency hearing. But she had needed to hear their refusal directly, needed it recorded in the official transcript, because Alina Chen had made a promise long before today's hearing. 14 hours later, she stood in a darkened hangar bay aboard the orbital defense platform Arcturus, facing 15 ship captains gathered in a tight semicircle. Unlike the council chamber, this meeting had no official sanction, no recording devices, no witnesses. You've all reviewed the situation, Alina said without preamble. You know the council's decision, and you know why I've called you here. Captain Devraj Singh of the destroyer Shiva's Arrow stepped forward. We've served together for years, Alina. But what you're suggesting, it's mutiny by any legal standard. I'm not ordering anyone, Alina replied. I'm asking. Every person here has connection to the outer colonies. Family, friends, former crewmates. Captain Miyazaki of the stealth cruiser Hyperion nodded grimly. My sister's family settled on Proxima IV 3 years ago. Research division. A murmur went through the gathered officers. Most had similar stories. The colonies had drawn the best and brightest from Earth's overcrowded cities, promising new beginnings among the stars. The Council believes a rescue mission would take 3 weeks, Alina continued. That's using standard navigation protocols and registered jump points. She activated a holographic display showing a route through space that bypassed the normal transit lanes. This path uses the Kuiper corridor, unmarked, unstable, and officially prohibited for military vessels. Captain Singh studied the projection. The gravitational distortions there would tear apart standard drives. Standard drives, yes, Elena agreed, but not the experimental Hawking engines recently installed on the Hyperion and the Aegis. Realization dawned on the faces around her. The Hawking drive tests had been classified, but rumors of their capabilities had spread throughout the fleet. Faster than light travel unrestricted by traditional jump points, capable of navigating gravitational anomalies that would destroy conventional ships. You're talking about an unsanctioned deployment of prototype technology, multiple capital ships, and a direct violation of chain of command, summarized Captain Rodriguez of the Horizon Breaker. The kind of action that ends with all of us imprisoned if we survive. I'm talking about keeping humanity's promise, Elena corrected. Every colonist who left Earth did so under our guarantee of protection. If we abandon Proxima IV, we betray not just those 50,000 people, but the fundamental trust that holds our civilization together. Captain Miyazaki stepped into the center of the circle. The Hyperion is yours, Commander. For my sister, for all of them. One by one, the other captains voiced their agreement. Not all. 3 senior officers departed with regretful glances, unwilling to cross the line Elena proposed. She didn't blame them. What she was planning would either save Proxima IV or end all their careers, possibly both. Operation Ghost Shield begins now, Elena announced after the dissenting officers had left. All ships will deploy under communications blackout. Official destination logs will show scheduled maintenance at the Daimler shipyards. We rendezvous at the Kuiper Corridor entry point in 6 hours. As the captains disperse to prepare their vessels and inform only their most trusted crew members, Captain Singh remained behind. You realize we can't save all of them, he said quietly. Even if we reach Proxima IV in time to find survivors, we don't have enough transport capacity for 50,000 evacuees. Elena met his gaze steadily. We make enough room. We strip our ships to the frame if necessary. No one gets left behind. And the Karvash. Intelligence reports suggest their invasion fleet outguns us significantly. We're not fighting fair, Elena said, calling up detailed schematics of the Karvash vessel designs. Their ships are powerful but standardized. They've never faced human ingenuity in direct combat, and they've certainly never encountered the capabilities of the Hawking drive. Singh studied the alien schematics, nodding slowly. So we hit them where they don't expect, using technology they don't understand. Exactly. Elena highlighted vulnerable points in the Karvash ships. Thermal regulation systems, gravitational stabilizers, sensory arrays. Their entire tactical doctrine relies on overwhelming force against predictable resistance. We'll be neither overwhelming nor predictable. 6 hours later, 12 Earth warships slipped away from their patrol routes and maintenance schedules, converging at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, where the gravitational landscape twisted into chaotic patterns that conventional navigation systems classified as impassable. On the bridge of the Hyperion, Elena took command of the impromptu fleet, now designated Task Force Prometheus. The name seemed fitting. They were, after all, stealing fire from the gods of bureaucracy to deliver it to abandoned humanity. All ships reporting ready, Commander. Lieutenant Commander James Okafor announced from the tactical station. Ghost protocols engage. Hawking drive status, Elena asked. Chief Engineer Sorensen's voice came through the comm. Primed and stable. The calculations for the corridor transit are locked in, but I should warn you, this is well beyond our test parameters. The gravitational shear alone cold. Understood, Chief, Elena interrupted. Begin final countdown. The view screen displayed the 11 other ships of their small fleet, a fraction of Earth's defensive force, but each vessel chosen for specific capabilities. Some were loaded with ground combat units, others carried medical teams and emergency supplies. The Hyperion and the Aegis would serve as their technological edge, the only ships equipped with the experimental drive that might just get them to Proxima IV in time. Task Force Prometheus, Alina broadcast to all ships. This mission has no official sanction. Each of you has volunteered knowing the consequences. If we succeed, we save our people and uphold humanity's promise. If we fail, she paused. If we fail, at least we will have tried when others chose expediency over honor. She nodded to Lieutenant Commander Okafor. Initiate Hawking drives. Take us through the corridor. Space itself seemed to bend around the Hyperion as the experimental drive activated, creating a bubble of distorted reality that protected the ship from the gravitational chaos of the Kuiper corridor. The stars stretched and blurred, and Alina felt the distinctive vibration through the deck plates that indicated they were exceeding normal FTL parameters. Transit successful, reported Okafor several minutes later. All ships accounted for. Corridor navigation is functional. Alina studied the projected course. Their path through the gravitational anomalies would shave significant time off the journey, potentially allowing them to reach Proxima IV in just over a week rather than 3. It wasn't enough. The colony would still face nearly 2 weeks of Karvash assault, but it gave them a chance to find survivors. Maximum sustainable speed, she ordered. I want status updates on the Hawking drive every 2 hours. The moment we're in quantum communication range of Proxima IV, I want to broadcast on colonial emergency frequencies. For days they hurtled through the corridor, the ship's structural integrity systems constantly adjusting to compensate for the gravitational tides pulling at their hulls. Twice they were forced to drop out of FTL briefly when the Aegis reported dangerous fluctuations in its drive core. But the delays were minimal, and the fleet pressed onward at speeds no Earth vessels had previously sustained. On the 8th day of transit, the quantum communications array detected a signal, weak, distant, but unmistakably from Proxima IV. Protokakal omije innitie, he HROXIN IV Fallon. FINAL. Transmission. The bridge fell silent as the message displayed on the main screen. Protocol Omega, the self-destruction sequence designed to deny an enemy the technological resources of a human settlement. The final act of defiance when all hope was lost. How long until we reach the Proxima system? Alina demanded. At current velocity, 26 hours, Okafor replied. Alina's jaw tightened. Chief Sorensen, I need more from the Hawking drive. Commander, we're already redlining the containment field, the engineer protested. Any more stress, and we risk catastrophic failure. Not acceptable, Alina said flatly. Reconfigure the field harmonics. Redirect power from non-essential systems. Do whatever you need to do, but get us there faster. She turned back to the communication station. Send a response on all colonial frequencies. Authentication code Sierra 93 Victor Echo. Tell them we're coming. Tell them to hold on. Within hours, Chief Sorensen had implemented a series of modifications to the Hawking drive that pushed its theoretical limits even further. The ship's hull groaned under the strain, but the transit time dropped to 18 hours. It would have to be enough. As they approached the outer boundary of the Proxima system, the fleet dropped out of FTL to assess the situation. Long-range scans painted a grim picture. The Karvash invasion fleet in orbit around Proxima IV, methodically bombarding the surface. Energy signatures indicated heavy ground combat ongoing. They're still fighting, Captain Singh noted from the Shiva's Arrow. After 3 weeks of assault, humans don't surrender easily, Alina replied, especially when protecting their homes. She studied the tactical display, analyzing the Karvash fleet positioning. Their ships were arranged in standard bombardment formation, focused on the planet with minimal attention to their orbital perimeter. They clearly weren't expecting company. Task Force, final briefing, Alina broadcast. We've identified approximately 20,000 life signs in the underground tunnel network beneath the main colony. Surface structures are largely destroyed, but the bunkers are holding. Our primary objective is extraction of survivors. Secondary objective is to neutralize the Karvash ground forces to facilitate evacuation. Captain Miyazaki's voice came through. And the enemy fleet. We engage only as necessary to secure our objectives. Alina answered. This is a rescue mission, not a war declaration, even if the Council might see it differently. She looked around at her bridge crew, at the faces of people who had risked everything on her conviction that humanity's promise to its colonies was sacred. Stealth approach to high orbit. Deploy ground teams the moment we achieve position. The Karvash believe they're hunting trapped prey. It's time they learned that humans hunt back. As the fleet accelerated toward Proxima IV, Alina opened a channel to the surface bunkers where Governor Reyes and the surviving colonists had taken refuge. Proxima IV. This is Commander Alina Chen of the Earth vessel Hyperion. Authentication code Sierra 93 Victor Echo. Do you copy? The response came through moments later, the governor's voice strained but alive. Commander, she said, the Karvash are already planetside. They've overrun the colony. We have limited defenses remaining, and we expected no response from Earth. Alina's hands tightened on the command chair. You were not abandoned, Governor. Politics delayed the official response, so we came anyway. Prepare your people. Earth remembers its own. Descent from the stars. The Karvash flag vessel Dominant will detected the human ships only moments before the first impacts. Supreme War Leader Vezkera stood on the command platform, his armored exoskeleton clicking in agitation as sensor arrays suddenly blazed with warnings. Impossible, he hissed through translator implants. No human vessels were detected entering the system. His second-in-command, Sub-Leader Nextor, frantically analyzed the incoming data. 12 ships, War Leader, emerging from stealth approach. Their propulsion signatures are anomalous. Before Vezkera could issue orders, the space around Proxima IV erupted in coordinated chaos. The human destroyers Shiva's Arrow and Horizon Breaker struck first, their railgun batteries targeting the engines of the Karvash bombardment vessels with surgical precision. Not attempting to destroy, just disable. The bombardment ships, caught unprepared with their weapons focused planetside, drifted out of formation as emergency systems engage. Simultaneously, smaller Earth vessels slipped through the disorganized Karvash fleet, descending rapidly toward the colony's coordinates. Drop ships detached from their hulls, plummeting toward the surface like metallic meteors. Aboard the Hyperion, Alina Chen watched the tactical display with focused intensity. Status of ground insertion teams. Drop pods away. Lieutenant Commander Okafor confirmed. First wave will touch down in approximately 3 minutes. Marine forces report ready for deployment. And the Karvash response. They're recovering faster than anticipated, Okafor admitted, redirecting weapons from planetary bombardment to orbital defense. Their command ship is coordinating a counterattack. Alina nodded. As expected. Execute Phase 2. The Hyperion and the Aegis, their experimental Hawking drives still spooling with excess energy, suddenly vanished from their positions, only to reappear behind the Karvash command vessel. The maneuver was impossible by conventional physics, the micro-jump cutting through normal space in a way that violated standard navigation principles. Vezkera roared in rage and confusion as alarms blared across the Dominant Will's command deck. How did they? His question was cut short as targeted EMP bursts from the human vessels temporarily disabled the command ship's communication systems, isolating it from the rest of the fleet. On the surface of Proxima IV, the first wave of Earth's drop pods slammed into the ground around the main colony. Unlike traditional landing craft, these were single-occupancy combat insertion units, essentially armored coffins designed to deliver a single soldier precisely where needed, without the vulnerability of a larger transport. Staff Sergeant Maya Ortiz emerged from her pod in a plume of steam and debris, her combat exosuit already scanning the environment and marking hostile positions. Around her, dozens of similar pods were disgorging Marines in rapid succession, each soldier immediately moving to tactical position. Strike Team Alpha deployed. she reported through her helmet comm, establishing perimeter around primary bunker entrance. Colonel Marcus Way's voice responded from the command dropship still descending nearby. Confirmed, Alpha. Priority 1 is securing the civilian evacuation route. Karvosh ground forces are converging on your position. Maya signaled to her team, and they moved with practiced efficiency through the ruins of what had once been Proxima Ivy's capital city. The devastation was total. Buildings reduced to rubble, infrastructure destroyed, the colony's careful terraforming efforts erased by weapons fire, and toxic atmosphere seeping through shattered environmental domes. Eyes up, warned Corporal Diaz beside her. Movement at 2 o'clock, multiple signatures. Through the swirling dust came the Karvosh ground units, 8-foot titans in biomechanical armor that seemed to merge with their exoskeletal bodies. They moved with unnerving coordination, sensory organs swiveling independently to track multiple threats. Hold position, Maya ordered. Let them come to us. The Marines took cover among the ruins, their adaptive camouflage blending with the debris. Unlike the colonial security forces with their limited armaments, Earth's Marines carried weapons specifically designed for extraterrestrial combat. Multi-phase rifles capable of penetrating the Karvosh armor at its junction points. The alien squad moved closer, clearly hunting for the human drop pods they had detected entering atmosphere. Maya waited until they passed her position, then gave the signal. The first volley.